Ray, how is it?
Ah, it's like riding a marshmallow. Oh. Whoa, not very fast either.
Really?
Yeah, 15 miles an hour, and then it wants to go on holiday and leaves me in the saddle pushing like mad. Up to 18, and I'm just about there. I don't think I can go with it.
Better park it up then.
Okay, will do. I'll leave it on the side here.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, it's heavy. It's really heavy. There we go. Well, I wouldn't give you £2 for that.
Well, it's actually £5, Ray.
£5?
Yeah.
You must be kidding. £5? I'm going to go back to my old push bike and put an electric motor on it. That's what I'll do. Down the workshop. Let's see what happens. Let's do it old school and barefoot.
What, you gonna build it in your shed?
I'm going to build one and get my old £100 Carrera, and I'm going to go off. And so I'll be seeing you sometime soon with a new bike.
See you, Ray.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I've shot my mouth off about doing this bike. I better look for the motors. Ah, they were there last week. Oh, here we are. Let's hope there's a motor in here that's any good. Well, that's powerful enough, but it's an old iron cord one, so that's no good. Ah, nice neodymium flat one, 24 volts. I prefer 36. Oh, that's a traction motor. That's what you have on the front of a truck to pull something out of a ditch. Oh, nice neodymium motor. It's a bit wide. 24 volts again, not right. I really want 36 volts, and fortunately, I've got something here. Now, this is a flat motor, 750 watts. That's a bit big. It's a neodymium one. Ah, just what I want. 250 watts, 36 volts. It's a rare earth one. No, it's a ferrite one, but that will do. That's just right. I think we can do stuff with that. Go for another job. This is the motor I've chosen. You can see it's a flat motor. It's already got a T5 drive sprocket on it, which is ideal. Not very wide. 250 watts, 36 volts. Got everything going for it. This is going to do the job, and not only that, I know this motor because I've used these types on some of our CNC machines, so I'm pretty happy that this will do the job. But I better test it. It might not work. So we'll put it on the bench first of all. We've got a power supply ready, and what we're going to do is we're going to put a very small voltage on this. 36 volts will be maximum speed, no load, 3000 RPM. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put on 1.1 volts. That's not much. Now that's pretty good because it's rotating. I wouldn't know how fast it's going, but maybe 2 RPM. So what we'll do now is we'll power it up. I can't go to 36 volts because I haven't got 36 volts. I've only got 30. So here we go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and we're on 30 now. Pretty good. A little bit of vibration there. Pick it up, check for balance. Very nice. We get the gyroscopic effect as we move it through. That's how gyros work. And there we are. We're ready to roll. That's nice. I really like it. I'm going to be happy to install this on the bike. This is my wheel off my old £100 Carrera. It's not too bad shape, and this is going to have the pulley put on it. First of all, I've got to have a look in the belt boxes. A load of belts. There must be one that's going to do it here. They're too small. That one, we'll give that a go. First of all, I think I've got a pulley that's more or less the size I want to put on. The next step, I need to connect the driven wheel to the motor. And of course the belt comes in, and there it is. Now that doesn't look too bad, and I think you can see that there's enough room now for the motor to go on. From the odds and sods box, I've got a sprocket, a driven sprocket, which is about the size that I really need. I can't have it very much larger, because if I do, by the time I've got the belt round this and on the little pulley here, I'm going to be up by the brake drum, and that's going to be too far. It's not as big as I'd like. It'll give me a ratio of about 10 to 1. I really want about 16 to 1, but I'll have to wear with this. So there we go. I've got to make a unit on the CNC machine. There's 148 teeth or thereabouts. I think this is what this one is. And once I've made that, I can put it on, and that will fit back with the Freewheel, and I'll have my driven center. This 148 tooth sprocket is fresh off the CNC machine now, and it's an integral part of the driven hub. There we are. Now the next thing that we've got to make is the spider that goes inside it. And the spider is, oddly enough, made from something from Screwfix. This is a kitchen table leg, $1.99, and we're going to make the core of the hub out of this. And the way we do it is we make ourselves a little template out of a piece of waste pipe, 1.25 inches. We drill 8 holes on the quarters and set some slots in it so that we know where we're going to cut. We can either use an angle grinder with a 1mm cutter, or you can do a hacksaw. But whatever happens is on the spider, which is this item here, this is the finished item, whatever happens, you've got to have holes where you get the transit between the spider's legs. And it has got 8 legs too. So you need to do that, because if you don't do it and you leave a sharp edge, it could tear. So the way we make this is using the template. We slide this onto the template. We can mark off with this where the holes should be and where the slot should be. And if you look at this, the completed spider, you'll see that there's short slots on the outside, and on the inside 70mm or so legs. Quite a big spider. So there we have that. Once we've made the spider, we've got to set this onto a plate. So we also cut out on the machine an aluminium plate. You pop that on there, we center it. There it goes. And this can be araldited underneath onto this plate, and you can put clips around there. And once you've done that, you can mount that onto a Fomex 10mm interface piece. So that is what it begins to look like. You can see that and see from underneath. Once that's done, and we would use normal woodworking clips to hold this down, we can then put on the Freewheel. You've got to make sure that the Freewheel goes on the right way. If you put it on the wrong way, you'll be pedaling, the motor will be buzzing away and nothing will be happening. So you've got to make sure that when you put it on, that it goes the right way, and that is the way it goes. It goes so that you get the turning moment when it's going anti-clockwise. That drops over the top like that, and in the finished article you will have the shaft coming through on the left hand side of the bike, and that is a 10mm bearing, 30mm OD. You pop it down inside, and when you're ready you put that on there, and now you're almost finished. But what we'll do now is we'll look at a finished item, and here it is. They got to be here, they got to be in this place somewhere. Cable ties, cable ties, cable ties. It's a bag. It's around somewhere. Let's see if I can find it. Well, they gone on holiday, I think. They got to be somewhere in a blue bag. I'm tired of tires. Got them! Going to be tied up in no time at all. Here's the driven wheel, the back wheel, off my 100-pound Carrera bike. And you can see that this has got a solid shaft, not the quick release one that was originally in there. I've taken that out clean the bearings and pop this one in. And the reason for doing it is obvious. We need to have that strength, because on this side we're going to put the motor, which can produce up to half a horsepower for a short period of time. So here we go. We're going to put the bits on here, and that means really we're going to put the hub in position. We've already made on the CNC machine the 148 tooth driven disc. And here's the hub. Now you'll notice that there are holes in the hub, and these, when we present it, line up where the spokes cross over. So now this is centered from this position here, and also it's held down when we put our ties on. It looks a bit weak, but they are very strong, and once they're threaded through, that's another form of lacing, the unit is held very strongly, and it should be held in a central position. But if we pop a 30mm OD and 10mm ID bearing on the shaft and gently push it down, we locate it spot on. Next, we have to put on here the driven sprocket. We've already seen that. There it goes. And just to secure that, what we do is we put some bolts through, and these line up with the teeth. Slip underneath there with 4 nuts, and the nuts you'll be using are going to be the shake-proof ones, and the job is done. There is the hub, complete and ready to go. And now I just put the collar on and put the nut there, and then all done. It's going the right way round.
Ray, I got to ask you a question. You've got the motor. Why can't the motor just fit into a back wheel? Can't you just build a wheel out of the motor?
Well, there are companies that make it, and they're pretty good, but the problem is that they're very heavy, and it comes down to unsprung weight and things like that. They also have a bit of a drag because they don't have any gearing. So nearly all transmissions have gears. Motors go at 3,000 RPM. Back wheels, maybe 100, somewhere around there. So you've got to really gear it down. The standard gearing, sorry.
So the question is, how are you going to connect the motor to the back wheel? Because it seems to me that you've got the pulley on the wrong side of the one you've made.
Right, well, what I'm doing is I'm putting another drive on the left-hand side, and I'm maintaining the cassette on the right-hand side. Now, if you've got a mid-motor system, what you've got is you've got the mid-motor and your cadence coming down on the right-hand side. That's a chain ripper. That really is. We don't want that in engineering. That may not last long. It might last a long time depending on the size of the person riding. Here, you have to drive on the left-hand side. That's a dedicated drive for the motor. And if you use a 1/2 inch by 1/8 chain, you're not going to bust that in 10 years. On the other side, it's as it is. So on this bike, what we're doing is we're putting this hub on, and that means there's no drag on the system. That we're going to pop on there. This section here is contoured so it fits on the flange of the existing hub. And then we push that on,
Okay.
and once that's fitted, we've got a bearing race which we push on to keep it dead center. We have the drive wheel, the sprocket with 140 odd teeth on. That fits on the outside of it like that. We have the belt that goes round the edge, and we have the motor with its pulley. Now this is about 10 to 1 reduction. The motor's 3,000, so that's 300 RPMs, which is a bit high geared. We've done the maths, but I think it will work okay. Be just a bit higher geared, which means on the hills it won't be so good. On the flat it might be a bit scary.
I'm now actually on my limit. I'm on my limit, and Ray is actually just leaving me. He's actually gone.
Well, there you are. That's
What was that? That's scary.
Here we go. Oh. There we go.
Tune in to part 2 to see if Ray can bring the barefoot bike to life under his £200 budget. If you want to stay up to date, don't forget to follow us on social media.